Deftones Sextape, it's one of those songs, right? It's hypnotic, it's atmospheric, it's incredibly sensual. But what if I told you that under that dreamlike surface, there's a whole lot more going on? We're talking a complex map of neuroscience, psychology, and even economics. Yeah, today we're diving into an analysis that totally unpacks the surprising depth of this iconic track. Right from the jump, the song just pulls you into its world with these opening lines. It's not really a story, it's a feeling. It's this state of being that's somehow both peaceful and totally disorienting. This is our way in. But, before we can decode the dream, we have to understand the reality. This song wasn't just created in a vacuum. It actually came out of one of the most difficult and turbulent times in the band's entire history. So let's get the basics down. It was released in 2010 on the album Diamond Eyes. And what's so cool about it is where it sits genre-wise. It's got that hazy atmospheric vibe of dream pop and shoegaze for sure, but it's also carrying that emotional weight of alternative metal. And that blend, that's absolutely key to its power. And this context is just everything. You have to remember, this was created right after their bassist, Chi Chang, was in that tragic car accident that left him in a coma. The band had a whole other album nearly finished called Eros that was supposedly much darker, much heavier, and they shelved it indefinitely. Instead, they made Diamond Eyes as a very conscious, very deliberate choice to turn away from all that darkness and find, in their words, an enthusiasm for life. So Sextape isn't just a song, it's literally the sound of a rebirth. It's them actively searching for beauty right after a massive trauma. All right, so with that foundation in place, now we can really start to peel back the layers of the song itself. And we're going to start with those beautiful, poetic, and kind of fragmented lyrics. We're coming back to this line because, honestly, it's the anchor for the entire experience. So what does this feeling of floating underwater really represent? Well, this analysis gives us two really fascinating ways to look at it. This is so cool. On one hand, you have the neuroscience perspective, the idea that floating is literally describing a brain state called ego dissolution. It's kind of like sensory deprivation, where your brain's sense of you and where you are in space just starts to dissolve. But then on the other hand, you have this cinematic view. It's about how we experience memory. I mean, think about it. Memories aren't perfect recordings, right? They're fluid, they're liquid, they're an ever-changing picture. The song is like hitting play on that dream. So let's move to the next key lyric, and you can see how this all builds. The perspective shifts. Now the singer is an observer, totally captivated by this hypnotic act of seduction. But what exactly are these powers we're talking about? And again, we get these two incredible lenses to see through. First, kinesics, which is just the academic term for the study of body language. From that viewpoint, these powers are all the nonverbal signals, the gestures, the glances, that create an almost magical influence. Then you've got what's called affective economics. Seduction becomes this kind of marketplace of desire. Pleasure is a valuable resource, and by tempting, its perceived value just skyrockets.
All of this is building and building, and it takes us right to the song's emotional core. The chorus isn't just describing the climax of the story, it is the climax, both sonically and symbolically.
This is the line. It's repeated over and over like a mantra. It's the absolute sonic and emotional heart of the entire track. It's violent and it's serene all at once. Just this powerful, primal sound. To really get the full impact here, we have to talk about catharsis. You know that term. It's that massive release of pent-up emotion, that powerful moment of purification. Well, the colliding waves are pretty much the perfect symbol for it.
The symbolism here is just so rich. Think of the ocean as our deep, unconscious emotions. The collision, well, that's the classic climax, the release of all that tension. And the sound itself, that is the sound of the ego dissolving, of two separate things becoming one in this moment of pure ecstasy and connection.
And the song locks this huge, epic moment in time with just one word: tonight. This isn't just any night. By repeating it, the song turns tonight into this sacred, almost ritualistic space that's set apart from the ordinary flow of time. It's the place where this transformation is allowed to happen. And right when you think you're completely lost in this oceanic dream, the song does something absolutely incredible. It takes that vast natural metaphor and drops it right into a modern, man-made city. And just like that, suddenly we're not floating in the ocean. We're cruising through a city after hours. That intimate, elemental feeling is now mapped onto empty streets and city lights. So if we look at this through psychogeography, which is basically the study of how our physical environment affects our emotions, we see the city being completely transformed. Public space becomes a private sanctuary, the car becomes this intimate little capsule moving through a sleeping world. Then you apply systems theory, and the line, fusing all our powers, isn't just poetic, it's a perfect description of synergy. It's the idea that 1 + 1 can equal 3. The couple becomes a new, unified system, something way more powerful than just its individual parts. Okay, so after peeling back all these different layers, what does this deep dive really tell us? Not just about the song, but maybe about art in general.
Well, the big takeaway is this. Sextape isn't just a mood piece, it is an incredibly dense cultural artifact. It's a document, a map of the complex inner workings of the human experience.
I mean, just think about it. We've touched on neuroscience to explain a physical feeling, psychology to deconstruct desire, sociology to reimagine a city, and systems theory to define connection itself. The song is this amazing meeting point for all these different ways we have of understanding ourselves. And all of this leads to the ultimate conclusion from the source material, which is just perfect. This isn't just a song about sex. It is, quote, a phenomenology of ecstasy. Now, phenomenology sounds like a big, scary word, but it just means the study of an experience from the inside. The song isn't describing ecstasy from a distance. It's a detailed map of the experience itself, of dissolving the boundaries between the self, another person, and the world around you. And that leaves us with a pretty fascinating question, doesn't it? If a single 4-minute song can contain this much information, this much data about the human condition, what other hidden depths are just waiting to be discovered in the art we see and hear every single day?